Whoops. Can you guys hear me? I hope so. Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Can you hear me?
Not working?
I don't know. Oh, all good now. Okay, good. So, all good now. How do you sell? So I sell online and in person. So we have a fire sale or a quick sale, usually every quarter, and then we do art shows, galleries, and fairs. And then we also have other social media. And so I'm going to sell this one by making it look better. So ultimately, I've had this piece for too long at this point. It hasn't sold yet, so I'm going to improve it. And then I think it'll sell. And if it doesn't, then we'll just rework it. I hate covering work completely that I've done so that you can't see the previous layers. So this current layer, don't mind the resin. I mixed my resin on top of this piece. So there's a lot of cells with tints. There's a lot of depth with a few of the colors. There's floating golds, a whole bunch of really nice cells and textures, but it didn't sell. So now what we're going to do today is improve it so that it does sell. And the way I'm going to do that is using translucent pigments. So translucent pigments are pigments that you can see through, and opaque pigments are pigments that you cannot see through. Okay, so here's my colors. I'm using Passion Base Cell White. This is an opaque white. You cannot see through it. It is solid. I'm also using a translucent red, which means that you can sort of see through it. But it's not translucent. It's got like a haze to it. So like consider like frosted glass as translucent but not transparent. So like you can see through it, but the images would be distorted. And I'm also using transparents. The red, by the way, is Cherry from Color Obsession. Looks like this. Boop. And the blue shades that I'm using is Aqua Tint from Color Obsession with a drop of Blue Lagoon in it to make it kind of a moodier aqua. And this one I put 6 drops in, so it's kind of a darker color. And this one I put like 3 drops in, so it's a very light color. And that's just kind of the beauty of transparent tints, is no matter how much of the pigment you use, you'll always be able to see through it, but the depth of tone will change. And then the last color is Copper from Color Passion. It's powder. I don't use a lot of powders, but when I do, there's statement powders like this one. This will be a floating copper, so it'll do a whole bunch of awesome looks as well. All right, so let's start with the art. JK, let me get you guys a little bit higher up so you can see the full piece. Boop. Vamp. You want to eat the copper? Whatever you want, my lady. So I haven't done a pour that's just kind of all over and sporadic and messy for a while, and so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to kind of design where I'm putting these colors depending on kind of what I want to show from the first layer. And since I already have a lot of blue over here, I'm not going to put a lot of my blues that are like this one that are tonally the same. This is the same color, but a couple more drops, so it's a little bit darker. I'm not going to waste all of my dark over, well, I'm going to have to put some of the dark in this area because I only made 6 ounces of resin, but that'll be fine. This is a 15-inch, maybe an 18-inch round from my shop, artisttilldeath.com, which is where you can get all of these colors and the cradle board. A cradle board is just, it's like a canvas, but it doesn't have canvas on it. It's just board or wood. So that way it's not going to dip in the middle from all the weight of the resin. Oh, I'm so excited about how it looks. This part right here is me really excited, and I'll show you up close in just a moment. So now I'm going to put the red in some areas. I don't want the red to take over. I want it to just be hints. Red and aqua are probably one of my favorite color combinations. I'm not really sure why. I've just always loved them together. And ultimately, if you know color theory, they're always going to look good together because of their position on the color wheel. They just play off of each other super nice. And even if they do mix, they give a good secondary color, which would be kind of a purpley shade. All right. I think, was it really Vamp? I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and just smear this around. I'm avoiding the red right now because I don't want to get my little fingies dirty with red until I'm ready to incorporate that through the rest of the piece. So I'm just pushing everything up to the red and then kind of just skipping over the red. This is definitely a point in the process where you just have to trust the process. It doesn't look like much right now, but it will, I hope. It will. I'm sure. I'm mostly sure. I believe. Okay, so we have that all mixed in for the most part. And now I'm going to just kind of feather out some of this red. And I can't wait to show you guys what this looks like up close. Now this is, I'm pretty sure at this point, going to be a background for a portrait that I want to do. With my texture style. I really like incorporating a bunch of different mediums into the same piece. Pardon me, you guys, I need a rag. Got it. I like incorporating a lot of different styles in the same piece because, I don't know, it makes it different, makes it unique. It broadens your like artistic range, in my opinion. I'm not a pro, I'm just me, but that's my opinion. Super loving it so far. I'm kind of putting off adding the white because I don't want it to look like Merca. I mean, love America. It's where I live. I don't want it to give like Pepsi vibes or like 4th of July vibes. So I'm going to try to be particular with it. Oh, I don't want to make pink. So we're going to be one swipe wonder with it. So I don't know if you guys saw what I was just doing, kind of that windshield wiper type of movement. And so I pushed the white over and under the red. And so it's giving me pink. But then from here on, I just went whoosh. And so then I just got that smoky look and not so much the pink, which is what I'm going for, is that little smoky look. Hey, Clara, how are you feeling? Emma says, have you tried a palette knife painting over resin yet? I love it when people do it in flood coat, but it's all glossy with a bit of peeking out. So I haven't coated one of my palette knife pieces yet, but I'm planning on coating the one that I'm going to do on this piece. So essentially, no, but in a minute I'm going to. Hopefully. I'm planning on it with this piece. Also, since we have that underpainting already established, there's going to be a lot of depth in the piece. So what I'm doing is super light skimming over the top of it. If you don't trust yourself doing this, then you can get a swiping paper or a palette knife or a Bondo spreader, and that would make it easier for you if it's making you nervous at all. So usually I have a few lighter lines in my work when it's just resin if I'm doing a finish, but I am not going to have that on this piece because I want the back to be fully fluid so that it's not a distraction from the painting I'm going to put on top of it. Treatments start next week. That's awesome. I'm glad you finally have like a game plan. All right, last white line, and then we're going to go in with the copper, and then we're going to manipulate it around and see how extra awesome we can make it. Also, it's worth noting that I'm wiping my hand off after every pass so that I'm not contaminating each time I swipe my hand across the surface. All right, let's heat it. Nope, JK. Let's put our copper. Now the copper I'm going to allow to be a more harsh line. I'm just going to try to keep it super thin. Just little tendrils, 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 tendrils. Words are hard. That one was way more than a tendril, but that's okay. Oh, I'm going to bring you guys down just for a second to show you the copper. Look how yummy that is. It almost doesn't want to pick up on camera. So it's a floating copper, but some does sink as well. And you can see the spine already coming up through the middle of it. That's where the particles are pinching together as it's sinking. Now let's put some heat on it and see if I can make more bits of that copper rise to the surface. Yep, the spine is gone. And it's starting to do that stuff that Mayron does. It gives me the little, I'm going to put my heat gun right here. Cool. It gives me those little, where are you? Little flecks that looks like tinsel. Those little dots, the freckles of particles that are floating up. That also indicates that if you were to fully incorporate this pigment into everything, like if I were to swipe over that copper, can you guys even see the little confetti looking, not confetti. I'll bring you guys down and show you again in a second, because I may forget what I'm saying. If you were to just mix the copper into the whole piece, if I were to just swipe it right now, that copper would fully take over and be a complete distraction. Let me pull this hair out and then, I don't know why I don't use more of this copper, but I'm going to now. Let me see all those little specks. I love that. They're very obvious in person. I just love how that looks. It's just like string lights of copper flecks. I like that it's not a stagnant line of the solid color. There's some variance to it. And that is from overloading that copper pigment. So you can see here the copper that has sunk, and then the copper that is floating has that bright color to it, and then the sunk copper is a darker shade. And what's happening is this table that I'm on is not level, so it is sinking and pushing everything that way. So it's going to have this little cast shadow. And so that gives a little bit extra dimension. Oh, I love this copper so much. Okay. I'm not going to make you guys just sit here and listen to me go on and on about this copper. So I really like how it looks. I'm thinking I'm going to tilt it just a smidgen, just to kind of stretch out the copper, have some stuff rolling over a little bit more, like this. So now I've stretched the copper, and so it's left this look from essentially all the translucence and transparent pushing over the sunken parts of the copper, but resin's thicker, so it's going to keep a hold of, itself, and so it'll just stretch. But when you do oscillating lines like this, oscillating variable lines, I don't know, you can make it look like it's lapping over itself because you've got a highlight built in right there, and then the shadow. So it can look like cloth when you do that. I am really digging how this looks. I may not even use it as a background, but I have my mind set on that's what it's going to be, so we'll see. But I love it. It'll be a great background, but it also will be great as is. Pardon me while I clear out space in the dust-free zone. Did you guys tune in the other day when I showed how to do these texture bubbles 4 oceans. If you didn't and you want to know how to do a texture foam, this is already dried. Oh, it looks better than my other one. Look how big those bubbles are that stayed. If you want to get wild and crazy with it, you can like brush over like a black and create like literally a lace look. I mean, obviously not on an ocean. Don't get crazy. So, what do you guys think of my aqua, copper, and red piece? The copper just balances the broad distance between the aqua and the copper, but red and aqua always make the complementary colors stand out so well. What's up, Arlene? And then you can also still see this is from the previous pour. So you can still see that. And then the pour that we just did today will cast a shadow. You can't see it on here because I have too many lights from too many directions, but I love it. I think this piece turned out exactly like I had it in my head. And now I'll be able to hopefully sell this one. And if it doesn't, then guess what? We're going to do more to it. Oh, my piece from yesterday. I haven't even looked at it. Oh, it bled. This wasn't a fully smooth canvas, and kind of the colors got lost because they were translucent, so you could see through them. But I'm going to revisit this because I thought it was a cute idea. Do you guys have any questions for me about creating artwork, selling artwork, color theory, any of that sort before I dismiss class for the day? If you haven't joined our Facebook group, ATD's Poor People, you should, because it's a great group full of a whole bunch of helpful people and beautiful inspiration. We tell all the tips, tricks, secrets, and whatever in that group as well. These are my reusable stir sticks, so I don't have to use a mound of popsicle sticks every time I decide to pour. Thanks, Arlene. If you're interested in these colors, they were Color Passion Top Cell White, Color Passion Copper Powder, Color Obsession Cherry, and Color Obsession Aqua Tint with a little bit of the Blue Lagoon tint mixed into it. Phew! Oh, I almost threw these away. I feel so productive when I get my space clean. So yeah, once that is set up, I want to do a portrait on it, similar to this one, or maybe that one, or maybe the other one I have in the hallway. You should do it, Emma. Clara, the cherry was out. I used it all today, all the rest of it. But thank you for the heads up, because I definitely would have thrown it away. So please get all of those colors and more from my shop, artisttilldeath.com. Support a small business. Amazon has enough money. And yeah, help me out. I will be back live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, and I hope to see you guys all here. please share, like, leave me your thumbs, and tell me what color combo you think I should use tomorrow down in the description, because when you interact with my channel, it pushes it out to more people and it really helps us a lot. So you guys have an awesome evening. Be kind to one another because you never know what someone's going through.
And always remember, we do the test.
We do the test so you don't have to, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. He said bye. Bubba, you ready to go for a walk? You can go for a walk?